Well, you may not think it, but it is actually summertime here at Santa Pod. We've got a good forecast in store for this weekend. The track looks in great condition, doesn't it, Darryl? What have we got to look forward to?
Indeed it does. I mean, dry is the most important thing. Sunny certainly helps, but you never know. We don't just actually need that. We can do it with dry weather because the track is so good here at Santa Pod. First race of the year, a lot of new stuff going on as well. Some of the champions aren't returning to defend their titles this summer, so it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. In Top Fuel, we've already seen some really good stuff in pre-season testing as well. There's some new drivers, a couple of new drivers from the UK as well. That's going to be very interesting indeed. Top Methanol Dragsters, there's going to be anybody's as well. Another class where the champion isn't returning to try and defend his crown, so it's wide open. Pro Stock, maybe still going to be a lock for Jimmy Orland. He's been racing in the States for quite some time, so he's going to have a bit of a head start on everybody else. Onto the bikes, Top Fuel bike, Ian King still really out there on his own in front, but anything can happen as we saw in September. And Super Street bike and the other bike class is going to be very exciting indeed.
Well, thanks for that. Well, as Darryl mentioned, some of the champions aren't here to defend their title, but we do have a full and competitive lineup in all of our classes. So, Freddie, your bike looks completely different to last season. What have you done to it?
We have repainted it. We thought we should need to do something different on the looking of the bike, so we put a new paint on it. If we can't go 6 second pass, at least we can look good on track.
Does this red glitter mean that you're going to start posting quicker times in the sixes?
I hope so, yeah. We're definitely going to try for it, yeah.
Have you made any mechanical differences?
We made some updates to the motor, so we are learning new setups and those things. So we are going step by step. We have different motor combinations, cam timing. We have different valves in it. We also remade our carburetors, so we are working with that also. So we try to figure out the right air and fuel mixture. So we picked up 300 of a second from the first to second pass yesterday, and we left a lot of things on the table. But I think we're going to get it. We're definitely going to work for it. So we'll see what happens.
So Ian, you had an absolutely amazing season last season, and then you went and blew up your bike.
Yes.
Last time we saw you. What changes have you had to make, therefore, for this season?
Well, apart from repairing all the damage caused by the fire that was subsequent to the engine explosion, we've made some changes to various small items that hopefully will have a big effect.
Is this version of the bike as quick as last year?
It's quicker, so you know we've pretty much turned things up, which is what we were trying to do at the finals last year when we had the explosion. Unfortunately, something went wrong and it didn't work out.
And who's your main competition coming from this season?
Well, again, this season it'll be Rickard Gustafsson because he's so quick on the lights. He has a very light bike, so it's always a case of chasing him down the track. And Steve Woodard, of course, because he's been around forever. He's very seasoned as a racer and very competent, and they have a great team. So they're really my two concerns. Win or lose, it doesn't make any difference to me. Obviously I prefer to win, but it wouldn't stop me if I didn't. So no, I just like mixing racing with these guys. It's good fun.
Pro Stock pits at the first race of the year are always a fun place to be, and one guy is having a lot of fun, Jimmy Orland. You've been racing in the States, back in Europe. Can you make it 10 this year?
Yeah, that's what we're shooting for. I mean, you got to go for 10 championships when you have 9. So, and yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to win every race, qualify number 1, of course, and it's not an easy task. You got to have luck, and you got to have the right equipment. And KB Racing is supplying me with good horsepower, and Summit Racing is behind us. So, yeah, we're trying.
I don't. Have you changed anything on the car for this year, or is it just basically? I mean, Pro Stock's always about fine tuning. Is that what you're doing this year?
Yeah, we got the same stuff in it as we had at the finals here last year, and same motor, same everything. But we're running it a little bit different this year. We learned something over there, I hope. We picked up some ideas, and maybe that makes us a little bit better.
So Ronnie, I understand you've been having a few problems. Tell us about those.
Yes, it's have some issues with the pistons, so we don't know exactly if it's a mechanical issue or a tuning issue. So we are taking small steps and try to be patient to solve the problems, but it's tricky. Sometimes it's harder than the other one. So
you say small steps and patience, but you've only got a certain amount of time to resolve the problem.
that's the tricky part. So we just have to cope with it and try to use your brain, your common sense and the old data from the previous years. So hopefully we are going to succeed.
So Anita, you had a fantastic day yesterday. You set your personal best. Absolutely brilliant. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was my best ever run.
How did you do it?
The thing is that when these cars go as they're supposed to go, you know, fast, it doesn't shake or it doesn't spin the tires. Your vision is clear, and because it stays hooked, you can steer it very well. It's like Sunday driving, and you don't hurt any parts. So, but well, it just happens so seldom when we can make this car run perfectly. But yesterday it was a perfect one for the car as well.
Do you think it was anything to do with the conditions yesterday?
Of course, it helped, and because the track is good, the air is good. But for these cars, maybe even a little bit warmer air would be even better. But it doesn't play a big role there.
So, how are you going to beat your personal best?
I'll count on my guys. I just hit the pedal to the metal, and the guys, they'll do other work.
We always try to improve something. We might not try to set records every round, but we want to be able to set the record and then back down from that and run consistently and fast all the time. Yeah, I still enjoy it. I mean, it's always a challenge, and we always learn something, and the guys are getting better all the time, so the competition is stepping up, and we need to be on the game. There's a few guys that can run fast. On every race, there's always someone that picks up and finds the track and goes really well. So there's always someone that will challenge us very hard. So we need to be on the game.
So, last season you managed to finish runner-up. How are you going to go one better this season?
Oh, we're going to run all the races, of course. We're starting with the main event. We didn't run the main event last year, so we're starting here, and so far, so good. I mean, with number one qualifier, and hopefully we will do good tomorrow as well.
What do you think about the conditions here at Centerpod?
The air is tremendous. I mean, the air is good. The right side of the track is the right lane is kind of bumpy, but I was riding the left lane now, and that was quite smooth.
And how does your car compare to last season?
We just did some small changes, and then we figured it out and changed back to last season again. So we know what we have, so they will be running better and better.
I'm the chef also. Tonight I will have decent food, potato, salad, and you know, a beer or two. So we'll see you later, guys.
So qualifying is done and dusted. Here's Darryl with the best on the best.
So we're on with the racing in 2015. This was qualifying for Pro Stock Bike. Your defending champion Frederick Friedland getting himself very well set on the play amongst friends Suzuki. Here in qualifying against Karl-Heinz Weikum, it wasn't Freddie for once who was top of the pile in Pro Stock Bike. Not on this qualifying run, I might add, but Karl-Heinz Weikum went 7.05 in early qualifying action, and he managed to get in front of Fred for that number one spot.
So congratulations, you've beaten Freddie.
Oh, thank you.
How do you feel?
I feel really good being back in the field after that bad year last year, and I feel really happy to beat Friedland the first time.
So time to put a bit of nitro in the tank for the first time this year. That is Martin de Haas up against Ronnie Orson. Now, these two battled it out all summer long last year. It was Martin de Haas that took the championship. Samu Kampanen isn't returning this summer to defend the FIM championship, so it's absolutely up for grabs. Can Martin de Haas pick up where he left off at the finals last year? Well, the answer after qualifying was a resounding yes. Ronnie Olsen still with problems with the Zodiac bike. Look at Martin ride that Supertwin all the way to the top of the field with another 6.6 second run. More problems for Ronnie Olsen and the gang, but it's Martin at number one.
Martin, well done for qualifying top at the main event. How do you feel?
Yeah, excellent. Unfortunately, we lost our sponsor last year, but the crew is so motivated and the guys are motivated, everybody's working so hard, and the bike is running perfectly, consistently, and today we're trying to step it up, improve a little bit, maybe 6.5, that's our target. 6.6 would be great, but well, we're looking forward to today.
So, top fuel bike this weekend, 8 bikes entered, absolutely stellar field. The man at the top of the pile with the Gulf Oils machine right closest to the camera, that's Ian King. Qualifying here against Steve Willett, but I'm going to shut up and just let you watch that bike in the far lane. This is incredible. Ian King flying the wheel all the way down the racetrack. The first leg of a new European record at 5.83.
Record-breaking times for you, Ian. Qualified top. How do you feel for today?
I'm quite comfortable. I won't say I'm confident, but I'm hoping for good things because the track looks good, the weather looks good, and we have a good chance today.
So on to four wheels for the first time. Mickey Gallquist didn't win the championship last summer. That went to Matthias Walker. Matthias is another one of those guys not returning this year, well, not to run the full championship anyway. So Mickey G looking to get an early start on the competition, and did he ever do that? This is qualifying again. This is his number one qualifying run. So quick indeed that he even nearly shook our camera up. He went 5.88. That is a new track record as well.
Yeah, I still enjoy it. I mean, it's always a challenge, and we always learn something, and the guys are getting better all the time, so the competition is stepping up, and we need to be on the game.
So on to Pro Stock. Jimmy Orland from Sweden, defending champ. He's 9 times Pro Stock champ, going for 10 this year. Been out racing in the States. I think he's already put in 4 or 5 races over there before he came back to Europe to get back in his own car. In qualifying here, alongside Thomas Lindstrom. And not only did Jimmy set the numbers 1 spot, he set a European record as well.
Jimmy, you qualified top and 6.52 to boot. You must be really pleased.
Yeah, we're pleased so far. Now it's just winning the race. That's what we're looking for, and that's why we came here. So let's try and do that. Records are nice, but winning the race is what it's all about.
Well, top Methanol Funny Car last year was all about Johan Lindberg. He's not at this race this year. He'll be starting his championship charge later in the season. This weekend, it was Leif Andreasen, last year number 2 in the championship, on top of the pile so far this weekend.
So last season you managed to finish runner-up. How are you going to go one better this season?
Oh, we're going to run all the races, of course. We're starting with the main event. We didn't run the main event last year, so we're starting here, and so far so good. I mean, with number 1 qualifier, and hopefully we will do good tomorrow as well.
Well, in top Methanol Dragster at the finals last year, it was all about the Harberman boys, and once again, back in May at the main event, it's Timo with a 5.33.
We are just figuring out the track a bit. I qualified number 1 3 times in a row here. Last year main event, the finals, and now the main event. And yeah, the plan is to go in the final and win that thing.
And the kings of the sport, dominated this weekend so far by the queen of the sport, the queen of Santa Pod. That's Anita Makela in the chicken car up against Mickey Kagarad in qualifying. Anita with a storming run down into the 3s, 3.96, well over 300 miles an hour.
I can tell you that we put the happy motor back, which we ran at 396 run, so it's already in the car now.
Are you confident because you're going into the finals or the eliminators with your personal best time? How confident are you?
Of course, it gives a huge benefit to start the day like this. But there again, no one will respect that when you are on the starting line up against the other car and they are just trying to beat you.
So our last class before we get into the racing is Fuel Funny Car. Back after a short absence, John Spuffard, the Showtime team, Bob Jarrett doing the tuning with that absolutely beautiful carbon fibre Mustang. Quickest elapsed time over 1,000 foot ever for a Nitro Funny Car. John was pleased to be back.
We're quite confident there is a lot more to come. We haven't even started to tune it yet.
Will it come in time for the eliminations?
Well, you know, we're in race day now, so we've got to get to the other end first. But at the same time, you know, we don't want to make any mistakes, so we're just taking it one run at a time at the moment.
So we pick up the action in the semi-finals. This is Pro Stock Bike, your #1 qualifier, Karl-Heinz Weikum, going up against Alex Hope from the UK. This is Alex's first full weekend in FIM competition, and boy, is he doing well so far. Now, ever since Karl-Heinz ran that 7-0 in qualifying to get that #1 spot, he's not quite bitten on the pace. Throughout eliminations, big hole shot for Alex Hope. You can clearly see a bike length lead. Can Karl-Heinz run him down? The answer is no. Alex Hope takes the win on a fairly sizable hole shot as well, and he's into his first ever FIM Pro Stock final. So who will he be up against? Will it be defending champion Frederick Friedland, or will it be an all-UK final? The Bish himself, Martin Bishop, making some good progress with the bike this weekend. Frederick Friedland's been suffering with handling problems, would you believe? The bike's been getting quite a wobble on its speed, and he keeps saying the last thing he wants to do is have it wash out and get him thrown off the bike. So we're going to see a gnat's eye view of Frederick Friedland's run this time round. This for a place in the final. Will it be all UK, or will it be Åland against the UK? Well, they're dead even off the line, but Frederick Friedland's already pulled out a couple of bike length lead by 3:30, and it will be Frederick. Train lengths, Martin Bishop, a 7-1, not quite on his 7-0 pace, but he's in the final. That's the most important thing. So we're on to the Super Twins. Ronnie Orson with that absolutely monstrous Zodiac supercharged machine. Job Hazen with the more slightly traditional injected setup on his bike. My goodness, I wouldn't like to be that cameraman. Ronnie Orson being pushed back by Vincent Pels. Him and his father Tom, proprietors of the Zodiac franchise out there in the Netherlands. Long-time drag racers, a whole family. Joe Hazen actually rode that bike a couple of years back, but decided to go his own way with his own machine. They're all still great friends. They all travel together and hang out together. And as a result, there's a guy from Norway riding the Dutch bike. So they had a lot of problems in qualifying. Let's see if they've got it ironed out for this semi-final clash with Joe Hazen. Staging up there, you can clearly see the difference in engine design. Well, it looks like Ronnie Orson and the Zodiac boys have figured it out. He's way out in front. Oh no, and then there's a big bang. Job Hazen takes it. And more problems for Ronnie Orson and the team. They'll take it home and rework it and come back even stronger than before. You can see again in replay though, Ronnie was on a really, really good run. That would have been a really decent mid-6 second run at least, but from on board, oh dear, one very oily camera and an awful lot of piston smoke. So on the other side of the ladder, it'll be a bye run for Martin de Haas. Martin and the team looking to get in the 6.5s this weekend. They've been in the 6.6s numerous times. Sounds easy. It's always the big increments that don't take much work, and then when you get to around about the optimum performance for these bikes or cars, it's the last little bit that takes all the work. Another beautiful one-wheel run for Martin de Haas, and he goes through with a 6.6 again. Top Fuel Bike semis. Phil Papaphilippou from Greece, world famous on YouTube for being the world's fastest passenger in a Top Fuel bike. Had a really nasty incident with Steve Willett at the European finals last year. Ended up sitting on the wheelie bars of the dealer. He was still in one piece, so was his bike. So was Steve Willett as well, and he's back racing again. He's got, though, none other than Mr. Ian King. Now, Ian, normally clockwork performance for the Gulf Oil team, but unfortunately spun the tyre and stripped all of the teeth off the sprocket on the rear of the bike in round one. They've got it fixed and back for the semis, but can Ian keep the tyre stuck to the racetrack? That's the big question. He's got the performance advantage, but only if it sticks. Here we go then. Well, Ian's spins the tyre again, on and off the throttle, and the belts come off the bike for the supercharger. That'll be the end of that. And it is Phil Papaphilippou as Ian King cruises through the top end. Not the way that he wanted to end his weekend. And of note as well, Ian ran that 5.83 in qualifying. He needed to back it up within 1% for it to be a European record. He didn't make it within the same weekend. He ran a 6.0, pretty close, but not close enough. So he doesn't leave with a new record. It'll have to be for another weekend. His final round opponent will be Rickard Gustafsson, due to race Nick Milburn. Unfortunately, Nick on the UK Fuel bike didn't make it to the line. So Rickard will get another tune-up run. He went down in the 6.3s in qualifying. This is one of the world's fastest funny bikes. And another storming run for Rickard. Sets up a race with his great friend, Phil Papaphilippou. Round of 4 for the Fuel Funny Cars. Gordy Smith in the Shockwave, up against Kevin Kent with the West 10 Racing Mustang. Now, Kevin won at the European finals last year, looking for a strong start to this year. These guys have already had a round of their championship back at Easter. That was won by Gordy Smith. In that final round, he did actually race Kevin Kent and beat him. So let's see what they can pull out in this semi-final round run. The number 1 qualifier, John Spuffard, was down in the 4.4s over 1,000 foot. These two have been very, very close before. Conditions are really optimal for fuel cars here this weekend, as you've seen by Anita's near record pace. Also, John Spuffard with the quickest run over 1,000 foot for a Fuel Funny Car too. So what can these guys pull out the hat? This competitive run, Dave Bryant setting up Gordy. That's the biggest tuning thing a crew chief can do. Pat the injector on the hat before it goes into stage. I think it's more of a good luck thing, seriously, than anything else. So, Kevin Kent up against Gordy Smith. Dead even off the start line, but Gordy Smith doesn't make it to 60 foot. Kevin goes through with a 4:54, 267 miles an hour. And on the other side of the ladder to set up the final round, it will be John Spuffard on his own. And John, again, with that great run in qualifying, I'm sure they're looking to back it up here with a nice, strong run. What a beautiful noise, 8,000 horsepower is John with a strong run all the way through again, clicks it off, a little puff of smoke, which then becomes an inferno. You can see clearly flames underneath the Showtime car. More than likely, something's come out of the bottom end of that motor. It was strong all the way through, but it just laid over at the top end. And strangely, it didn't appear to go pop until well after the finish line. The crew faced with a massive task to get back for the final round. Modified this weekend has been an absolutely great show. 16 cars started out on elimination day. We're down to the final 4. Mats Eriksson back down into the 5s again at Santapod for the first time in a long while. He was the first man ever into the 5s in a European door car. That's his son Lars Joran, giving him a bit of extra motivation as if he needs it against Bruno Bada for a place in the final. Bruno not quite on his normal great pace, but he has been in the 6.0s. Bruno spins the tyres off the line. By the looks of it, it will be Mats Eriksson storming through to a 5.98, 239 miles an hour. And on the other side of the ladder, the only turbo car left in competition against Mickey Gulquist. Now, we saw earlier on in the show Mickey G down in the 5.8s, almost at will now with this car. Saying that, though, he didn't have a great first day of qualifying. I think they were just trying to get the tune-up right. Actually wasn't even qualified for the 16-car field at the end of day 1. Day 2 of qualifying, totally different story. Like I said, 5.88 new track record up against Tero Laukkanen. Now, this car is another 5-second runner. And Tero has been over 250 miles an hour more time than any other door car in Europe. So Mickey pulling the supercharged Camaro into stage. Tero, with the turbo car, has a totally different staging technique to the blown car. He has to build up the boost and then bump the car into stage. So Mickey's all the way there, just sitting there waiting for Tero to build up the boost. And Tero leaves it to Mickey for dead. I can only think Mickey was distracted somewhat on the line there. And Tero Laukkanen will be in the final at 6.04. That's a shock. Pro Stock, we're down to, again, the final 4 cars. And what I have to say before we see this semi-final race between Michael Malmgren and Jimmy Orland was, Jimmy Orland in his interview with Louise earlier said, no, this is race day, it's all about trying to win the race, not set records. Well, Jimmy Orland is officially a liar. Round 1, solo run, 6.49 with a 9. Another European record, and also the first Pro Stock car in Europe in the 6.4s. Now, that's basically probably the last barrier for some time to be broken by a European Pro Stocker, simply because they're in the 6.4s in the States. They're only a couple of ticks quicker than that. He also ran 215 miles an hour, which puts him right in the top 5 in the world in Pro Stock, which is just amazing in itself. Up against Michael Malmgren. Now, Mike knows what it takes to win the championship, but does he know what it takes to beat Jimmy Orland today? Because Jimmy's performance so far has just been outstanding with that Camaro. Dead even off the line, you can see already that Jimmy Orland is out in front. That's going to spell bad news for Michael Malmgren. 650, 213 miles an hour. He really is crushing them this weekend. On the other side of the ladder, it will be a bye run for Thomas Lindstrom. Thomas and the rest of the Pro Stock guys are working absolutely as hard as they possibly can to try and catch Jimmy, and they are getting close now. Thomas down in the 6.5s so far this weekend, trying as hard as he can to step up that little bit further with the Dodge. Now, this is going to be a tune-up run for the final. He's got no competition, so they can try a few different settings and see how it goes. And the answer is a new personal best. 6.56 for Thomas Lindstrom. He's within striking distance of Jimmy. Okay, Methanol Funny Cars next. Jürgen Nagel with a classic motor oil Chevrolet Camaro from Germany up against Steph Millam. This is one of Steph's last ever events in this car. And her husband have a new car to bring out very, very shortly indeed. Now, both of these were in the high 5s in qualifying. Should be a pretty close race, to say the least. Just wondering what the teams are doing there. Because methanol is such a cold-burning fuel, it actually ices up the injectors, would you believe? Even though the engines get nice and hot, the top end of the motor does actually get quite icy. They have to spray de-icer on there to make sure the butterflies don't ice up. It has happened before, don't laugh, they really do it for a reason. So, this for a place in the final, and this is a very, very much a pick and race. There has been nothing between them. Jürgen Nagel with a new combination in his car. Steph Millam with a very tried and tested combo. She ran a personal best earlier on in the weekend. Jürgen Nagel leaves Steph on the start line all the way through, and it will be Jürgen with a 6.21 on a big hole shot over Steph with a 6.10. What a shame for her. So on the other side of the ladder, Leif Andreasen with the DSAB Monte Carlo. Like he said, he's running all the races this summer. Really desperately wants that championship back in his camp for 2015. He's won it before, but the last time was a few years ago now. Leif's been racing in Methanol Funny Car for as long as I can remember, let's put it this way. I remember in the 90s he brought one of his first Methanol Funny Cars over to Santapod, went in the 5.9s as well then. Some 17 or 18 years later, he's still around and he's running even quicker than ever. So what the team will do on this simply because they have a bye run. All they need to do is take a green light. They have the win because there is no opposition due to the way the field is worked out. What they'll try and do is put as much in the car as possible, see what the racetrack will take, so they'll know where the margin for error is or not, as the case may be. So will it be a victory lap or will it be a lot of tyre shake? These cars are very, very prone to that kind of thing. Strong launch. Really nice run all the way down for Leif Andreasen. Back in the 5.6s. Nicely sets him up for the final. Okay, TMD semis. The first half is going to be an all-Harbourman affair. Dennis against Timo, gold against silver, brother against brother. But just so you know something about what these teams go through to get set up for a normal race weekend, because some of the new parts that they'd ordered for these cars hadn't arrived from the States and didn't look like they were going to in good time to make this event here at Santipod Raceway. Timo got on a plane, went all the way to America, picked everything up, stuffed it in his suitcase, brought it all the way back again so they could come here racing to Santipod this weekend. That is proper dedication. That's a proper high-cost courier as well by comparison, but it's paying off so far. Timo was #1 qualifier, and Dennis has been right there with him. Dennis is the younger of the two. They're both absolutely razor sharp on the tree, and when they go head-to-head, their father Werner always says, go and race heads up, boys, and whoever takes this will have a place in the final. Timo won at the finals last year. Could it be Dennis's time? This time round, both the way absolutely evenly. And it's Dennis by around about that much. What a great race. 5.35 takes out his older brother. On the other side of the ladder, proof positive that what happens sometimes is all you need to do is take a green light. That's Dave Wilson from the UK. Just took the green light. He will be in the final. No need to hurt anything. Saves parts and will be round again shortly to run against Dennis. Just to make life easy for them, they're going to push that back. There's no need to service the car as well. So, time for some action from the kings of the sport. FIA Top Fuel Dragsters, the fastest accelerating wheel-driven vehicles on the planet. 0 to 300 miles an hour in around about, and hopefully under 4 seconds. The crew very methodically set everything up behind the line. These things are literally land-locked missiles. The crew will spin the engine over with the starter. You can see that attached to the front of the engine. They give the thumbs up to each other. They squirt, believe it or not, that's petrol going into the top of the injector just to get the car running. And then the crew chief will switch on the fuel pumps, and then a massive amount of nitromethane, up to 120 gallons per minute, will be going through those engines. Admittedly, that's at full throttle. That's not why they're idling behind the start line, but they still do use a monster amount of fuel. Everything about these cars is at the rock and roll end of motorsport. Everything faster, louder and nastier than everything else. And we're set. This is our first round 1 matchup. Stig Niergaard with the Eye of the Storm Top Fuel car, far side of the racetrack, up against a newcomer and another young lady in Top Fuel. Very welcome addition indeed. This is Brigitte Gremnes. Now, Brigitte, this is her first ever race in Top Fuel. She only got a licence earlier on in the weekend. She's raced in Top Methanol Dragster before, but this is a proper big step up. These cars are just absolute animals, to say the least. So, the crew now take the throttle stops off of the car. They put those on there just to make sure the engines don't over-rev in the burnout. 8,000 horsepower does need taming sometimes, but that time is not now. Throttle stops come off, it's time to race. Stig was really, really good throughout qualifying with this car. He wants to be consistent and he wants to go for the championship this year. Let's see how Brigitte can do in her first ever round of competition as well. Well, they're dead even off the start line. Great race to 1,000 foot. It's Stig Niergaard, though, with a 4:08 at 290. But Brigitte was right there with a 4.14. In slow motion off the start line, you can see everything start working. Those tyres with about 4 or 5 pounds per square inch in them crouch down and crinkle up. And Stig Niergaard's on his way. On board with Brigitte. At the corner of your eye, you can see Stig Niergaard, but I bet you Brigitte couldn't see him due to the high sides on the car. Next pair. A returning Jari Halonen from Finland. Up against another newcomer, this time from the UK. This is Liam Jones in another one of Rune Field's car. Just the most cracking paint job. The chemical symbol on the side of that car, CH3NO2, is the chemical composition of nitromethane. It's ingrained in the brain cells and the blood of anybody that ever goes drag racing because it's just the most magical ingredient ever devised. If you've never been to a drag race, you need to go just to watch the field cars. They are unbelievable. Obviously, there's loads of other great stuff as well, but these things are the top of the tree. So this for a place in the semis. This is Liam's first ever side-by-side race as well. Ran really well in qualifying, both of these guys, so this is a very, very even race indeed. Well, that very even race was on paper, not off the start line. Big tyre smoke for Liam. Jari with a great 4.11 at 2.98. Well, you can see from the rear view, Liam's car didn't make it further than about 20 or 30 foot. Sadly, he's out in round one. Next pair in a round of 8 for Top Fuel is, that's not Urs Urbacher in that car for this weekend. That's Tethys from the UK. Actually made his debut in Top Fuel 1 year ago at this event. And has actually come to an arrangement with Urs to drive his car for this weekend. Must be very strange for Urs standing outside his car watching it for the first time ever. But Tethys has been doing a great job so far this weekend. They haven't quite made it all the way down the racetrack, but I'm sure that's just round the corner. One lady that has, though, the Queen of Santa Pod herself, Anita Merkula, went into the threes over 300 miles an hour in qualifying. They're looking to go even quicker. They already have a backup for a new European record. They reckon they can go a little bit quicker than it. We're about to find out whether they can do it now. Traditionally, though, race teams don't like to try and set records on race day. It's all about win lights. But the conditions are just so good for Top Fuel engines at the moment. It must be really hard not to try. Well, this one's all about Anita. Wheels up and gone down the right-hand lane. And there you are, a new European record, 3.91 seconds. Your last pair in this round one of FIA Top Fuel. Mickey Kagarak with the Barco Express. This car really coming around, down in the 4.0s now for him and the team. Up against Duncan Mikulev with the Manta car, all the way from the beautiful island of Malta. Duncan's got a personal best of around about 4.01. He was in the 4s in qualifying, sorry, 4.0s in qualifying again. And anytime his car comes to the start line, he's a definite threat. Mickey's team just wiping the tyres, making sure there's nothing left on there that shouldn't be. For when they launch, they want maximum traction, maximum grip. There's so many variables with these cars you wouldn't believe. The last thing you want to do is have something stuck to the tyre that's going to affect everything. Dead even off the start line. Oh my goodness, Duncan all over the place. Mickey, though, with a 4.02 new personal best. And Duncan, that was absolutely unbelievable. Tyre shake, you can see cylinders out. Then he started to spin the tyres, pedalled it, and he actually does just dink the wall. I'm sure the car's okay. Marching on to the semi-finals, Jari Halonen and Anita Merkula. An all-finish affair for a place in the final. Jari's had a great, consistent car this weekend, but it's just not been quite as quick as Anita. Anita down in the 3.9s. And again, what more can you say than new European record in round one? Just a fantastic performance for her and the team. Jari Halonen took a year out last year. Well, it was supposed to be a year out until Chris Andrews unfortunately fell out of the trailer, busted himself up quite badly, and Jari was guest driver in the Lucas car, which was this car, believe it or not, last year at this event and the one in Finland as well. So Jari back on his own terms for this summer with the Sisu Nitro car. Can Anita do it again and run another 3.9? We're about to find out. A place in the Top Fuel final awaits for one of these two. Well, it's a great race, but it's Anita by a car length. And it's another 3.9, this time 3.92 at over 300 miles an hour. You can see the team are quite happy about that, actually. And in replay, look at all the clutch dust, the noise, the fury that is Top Fuel racing. So which one of these two will be in the other lane? Mickey Kagarad with a Barco Express, and it really was an Express in round one as well. A 4.02 personal best, 280 miles an hour, which indicates the car was laying over a little bit, hurting itself on the top end. There's more in that car. You can count on it. And his opposition is Stig Neergaard from Denmark with the Eye of the Storm car. Stig also went in the 4.0s. Now, both of the 4.0s are very, very quick indeed, but they're going to need to step up if they want to keep pace with the way that Anita Merkel is running at the moment. She's just, yeah, she's kind of a tenth of a head, which is a long, long time in any kind of drag racing, especially Top Fuel racing. So Mickey used to be consistent, he's now consistent and quick. Let's see what you can do against Stig. Side by side all the way down. They both, well, Mickey spins the tyres just at the same time Stig throws the blowabout, and it's a coasting race that Stig Neergaard wins. Well, that was definitely a lucky one for him. Yeah, there you go. You can see problems for both of them.
Welcome back. What a weekend it's been so far. We've had some blisteringly quick times. Is that down to the track, do you think?
Yeah, basically yes. Yeah, the track's just been awesome this week, and we knew it would be. Temperatures have been good for us. You know, there was a bit cold earlier in the weekend, but the track was very warm yesterday. 75 degrees, good air, perfect temperature for racing. Cloud cover. I knew there would be real fast times, but there's been records set everywhere, so we're very pleased.
And it seems to be both in the bikes and the cars, is the record-breaking times are set, aren't they?
In both classes. I mean, let's take the cars in Top Fuel. I mean, basically Anita Merkel is a local hero here. She's Finnish, but she thinks this is her home track. The crowd think she's our home girl, and she's just ran like her fastest times ever. And of course, it set the whole place alight. So that was Top Fuel. European records first time out, and it's just continued from there on in. And then looking at the bikes, we all knew Top Fuel bike would be good this weekend, but Ian King again just sets the records alight. And as for Super Street bike, how on earth can Super Street bikes ride over 200 miles an hour and those times that are as fast, almost as fast as Pro Stock bike? And these are street initially and then basically street legal bikes. Frightening.
All looks to be a pretty promising season ahead, really, doesn't it?
It's a great start for the championship this year. We move on to Tierp in Sweden for the next round. I think that will be really good. And when we come back to the finals, if anyone does go to take any records away at these European tracks, which I doubt, by the way, we'll just take them back in September. And then of course September we've got the night racing, the Friday night qualifying. So the season looks good. We're delighted with everything. I think it's a very, very happy pits there today in both cars and bikes.
Well, it's crunch time here for all the finalists at Santa Pod, but none more so than Anita and Stig. Let the finals begin.
Time to decide some races and hand out some trophies. Final rounds of all of the FIM and FIA classes. First up we have one of the standouts as always, Super Street Bike. This is Steve Venables up against Rick Stubbins. Rick with the brand new ProTech bike as well. Been running quicker and quicker all weekend. Went down in the 7.1s in the semi-finals. Steve Venables needs no introduction whatsoever. He's actually defending European Super Street Bike Cup champion. Can he win at round 1 of the series again? The answer is a big red no. Unfortunately for him, it will be Rick Stubbins, his debut season on that bike, and he takes the win at one of the biggest races of the year.
So congratulations, but you must talk us through that final. What happened?
Well, I thought Steve may want to cut a light to improve, because he's been struggling a little bit. But I just tried to do the same and not make any mistakes. I got off okay, but by the 8th I was drifting over and got on some slippery stuff, so I coasted off from there.
So, the championship in Super Street Bike looks like this. Great win there for Rick Stubbins. Pro Stock Bike trophy time. Frederick Friedland, the perennial #1 in FIM Pro Stock Bike, up against, I don't want to call him a first-timer because, my goodness, he's not ridden like one today, Alex Hope. His dad, Chris, has been around in Pro Stock Bike for many years, and to say Alex is a chip off the old block is a bit of an understatement. Massive whole-shot win in the semi-finals over Karl-Heinz Weikum. There's got to be a few nerves, but I'm sure there's an awful lot of youthful exuberance underneath there as well. Frederick Friedland's not exactly old by comparison, but he has been around a long while. It is Alex with the whole shot off the start line, the lead, but Frederick, with the power of the Play Amongst Friends bike, takes the win. A little off pace for him, but it's rounds that win championships, not quick runs. You can see that from on board again. You can still see the wheel wobbling around a little bit, but most importantly, he gets the trophy.
Well done, Freddie. You made that look very easy. Was it easy?
No, it was a very hard run. We had some issue with the bike over the weekend, controlling problem. It wanted to wash out the front wheel every run up the race mark. And this one was the nastiest, I think, on the whole weekend. But I was thinking I'm going to be the first over the finish line. I take the win as it is.
And resumes his position at the top of the Pro Stock Bike standings. So, finals of the Super Twins, and once again, as per last September, it's an all-Dutch affair. Martin de Haas, with the de Haas brothers Nitro Twin, against Joe Hazen. Both these two had a fabulous race at the European finals last year. I'm sure they've been thinking all winter about having a rematch of that, especially Joe Hazen, because he wants to get his own back on Martin de Haas. Now, Martin has got his own agenda, which is getting into the 6.5s and obviously taking the win as well. Let's see what he can do. This for the points lead and the big trophy at the end of the day here at the main event. Well, Martin de Haas with another flying run on that fabulous V-twin. And again, it's a 6.6. He's so close to the 6.5s. The team very, very happy with that indeed after a lot of work over the winter. You can see again in slow motion, the way he rides that bike is just incredible.
Well done, Martin. Absolutely. You must be thrilled.
Yeah, it was a really great weekend again, just like the finals last year, but the bike is running so strong. We were aiming for the 6.5, but can't complain. I'm so happy. 6.60, and thanks to the crew, the guys working so hard and believing in the bike, and it's running very strong now, and I can't wait for the next race in Hockheim. Let's see what happens there.
So, Martin with a real good shout of winning the championship this year after a great first round win. So, the top fuel bike final, ironically, features two funny bikes actually. Phil Papaphilippou from Greece against that man there, Rikard Gustafsson. This should be a great race as well. They're both in the mid-6s. Ricard's been in the 6.3s though so far this weekend. There's no way they're not going to be stepping it up for this final round race, trying to take each other out. They travel together. Ricard helps Phil with his bike an awful lot as well. So I think even though they're great friends, this is going to be a great proper heads-up drag race. So they both pull into stage, building up the revs, concentrating intently on the tree. and then they both go nowhere, would you believe? Green lights on the tree, Phil with the nitrous pop. That's what the flames out the front were. Ricard's bike has slipped out of gear. Out of shot, he's furiously trying to stab it into gear, and he even waves at Phil on his way past. Got to be the slowest winning time ever in a drag race. Over 20 seconds on a bike that can run about 15 or 16 seconds quicker than that. Everybody in sort of disbelief at what they've just seen. One of the weirdest races I can ever remember at a drag strip. Phil Papaphilippou knows that if he'd have just got the bike up the racetrack in anything like its normal performance, he would have had his first ever win, but it wasn't. It was Ricard.
Well, congratulations, brilliant news, but talk us through the final.
Yeah, it was kind of strange because I couldn't get the bike in gear, but when I saw Phil break down his bike and I just tried to get a gear in, and I found one and let the bike go. And yeah, it was a strange win.
Strange but rewarding. Takes the lead in the championship. Ian King with some catching up to do this summer. On to four wheels, it's FIA Pro Modified Turbo against Supercharger, Finland against Sweden. That's why we love this class. To say it's a mix is a bit of an understatement. Looking at Mats Eriksson's car as well, it looks like a bit of a mix. Those are the battle scars from 1 year ago this weekend. Mats had a really bad weekend then. He managed to nearly hit both walls and collected one quite comprehensively, hence the fact that the green goblin looks like slightly a green and grey goblin on the front end. It still goes very quick, just doesn't look its normal showroom self at the moment. But most important to the team now is getting the round win against Tero Laukkanen. Now, Tero has been in the 6.0s, Mats has been in the 5.9s. They're both very evenly matched indeed. Tero beat Mickey Dahlqvist on a whole shot in the semi-finals. So, who'll be leaving with the FIA Pro Mod points lead at the end of this weekend? Whether that launches anything to go by, it won't be Tero Laukkanen. He does not move when the lights run. Mats Eriksson with a 5.99 second win. The Green Goblin is back, and back at the top of the pile.
I bet you were really pleased with your time in the final.
Yeah, absolutely. On Saturday it was great, and that is the times we should be in. Then we have some small problems all the time, just only small problems, but there was no big deal with that. So we were very consistent all the weekend, and that matter. If you want to win the race, you must be that. So it was a fighting victory.
Well, very happy and wearing the number one. He's been a European champ before. Can he do it again? Give us a few months and we'll find out. Finally, in FIA Pro Stock. Now, 2 years ago, it was the Thomas and Jimmy show. Last year, not quite so. Thomas Lindstrom didn't do as well as a couple of years ago. It's nice to see him back and running really well. Both of these two have run their personal bests this weekend. Jimmy Orland on his personal best set the new European record, 6.49. What I also have to say as well, that 6.49 with his own car was quicker than he ran in the States with one of the Summit cars. Greg Anderson, Jason Line, not been as quick in the car over there as Jimmy has with this Camaro over here. So this sets up the final. Thomas Lindstrom as well went 6.56 in his semi-final bye run. If the team can repeat that and Thomas can leave anything like he normally does, he's in with a shout against Jimmy. So for the win and the points lead, who is it going to be? It's going to be somebody from Sweden. Thomas Lindstrom does get a whole shot but shakes the tyres off the start line. That looks like the end of it for him. Jimmy Orland, quick, consistent and absolutely deadly. In the low 6.5s once again. He's going to be very difficult to stop this summer.
Well done, Jimmy. It wasn't just about the race though, it was about the whole weekend. You were just absolutely on form, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, we nailed the setup from Q1 and we just kept working on it. And out of 7 runs, we made 5 of them was below our own national record we had coming in here. So that's awesome. It is.
And Jimmy back where he was last year, back where he's been 9 times before. at the top of the Pro Stock. Top Methanol Funny Car final. Leif Andreasen wearing the number 2 from the championship last year. Low-ET of the weekend, number 1 qualified, just about swept the board so far. Got an exclamation point on it by beating this guy from Hamburg in Germany, Jürgen Nagel. Like a lot of drag racers, Jürgen builds just about everything himself. He built the car himself, does an awful lot of his own engine work. But for this year, he's got a new supercharger set up on there. A lot of help from the Habermans. It's very, very similar to theirs, but obviously a funny car. They can run different engine sizes than they can the Dragster, so it's not like for like, but look for Jürgen to be picking up the pace a lot as the summer progresses. Leif Andreasen with the car that used to belong to Steve Harker in the US. Steve actually came over and helped him out a little while when Leif bought the car, but now Leif and the team all on their own with the car, and it's working out very, very well indeed. So for the big trophy in FIA Top Methanol Funny Car, there's just one race to go. They're both in pre-stage. Bringing the revs up to around about 5,000 RPM, which starts dragging the clutches through. Very difficult to hold on the brakes, these cars, when they're screaming like that. Dead even off the line until Jürgen Nagel spins the tyres. Leif Andreasen with a bit of a bounce on at the top end. But the most important thing is that lovely glowing win light. 5.70 takes the round win at the main event. He's glad he made the long trip from Sweden because he's going to be leaving with a points as well. Let's see what that looked like from on board. Yeah, you can really see the car getting a move on at the top end. Let's hear what Leif thought about his weekend.
Well, massive congratulations. I want to ask you, was it to do with your sausages?
Yeah, actually, you know, good food for the guys, and they worked hard. I mean, before the finals, they worked their ass off, and we couldn't make the final. We had some issues with the engine, so we're happy to win, really.
Well, very happy indeed, and it's all about the sausages by the sounds of it. Leif Andreasen, back where he was a few years ago, top of the pile in Top Methanol Funny Car. So we just have a few more finals to go. The next one on your screens is going to be Dennis against Dave. Dennis Habermann from Germany, the young guy in his 20s. Dave Wilson from Hampshire, not in his 20s. 20-year-old with quite a bit of experience, I think is probably the best way to describe our Dave. With the A fuel car, the for sale A fuel car as well. If you want to go very, very quick and fast indeed, Dave will also lend a bit of his invaluable experience and support if anyone wants to come up with the cash to go Top Methanol Dragster racing. This car very, very successful indeed. It's also one of the quickest in Europe, been down in the 5.2s. Dennis, on the other hand, this weekend so far has been in the 5.3s, but he's really, really good on the tree. And beat his brother in that semi-final matchup. So it's the UK against Germany. Not for the first time in history, but we're looking forward to it all the same. Two very, very different combinations to go drag racing with, but they're amazingly well matched on the track. Dave has been in the 5.3s in qualifying. Dennis has been in the 5.3s. Who is going to take the win? Germany or England? We're about to find out. Dave Wilson rolls forward into full stage, bringing out the revs. On the other side of the track, it's Dennis. Dennis actually gets a red light because he took slightly too long to stage. Unfortunately, Dave Wilson takes the win in Top Methanol Dragster. 5:45. He had a cylinder out on the way up the track as well. That should have run quicker than that. And no time, unfortunately, for Dennis due to being timed out on the tree. You can see as he goes past there, the red light glowing. It's a win for the UK and experience in the form of Dave Wilson.
Well done, Dave. That was brilliant. Bit of a surprise?
Well, we've had a bit of a surprise the whole weekend. We came here just to put the car on the track, for sale written all over it, make some decent passes, prove it works. That'll be fine. We've done that by Saturday. What we're going to do? So we just carried on, and that was a bonus.
Dave with an interesting predicament now as well. The car's for sale, but he's at the top of the leaderboard for Top Methanol Dragster. We'll see what the rest of the year brings. Okay, it's the Top Fuel final and it's the Chicken Gang against all the guys from Denmark. It's going to be Anita with Fogel Legel hanging on for dear life. Don't worry, folks, they take that off before she runs. That's actually it's a cover for the fuel breather on the car. The backup, the team take it off. Talking of breathing, my goodness, Stig's car is breathing very heavily indeed. That does not look good for that team. An awful lot of smoke coming out of the, well, it looks like the front of the supercharger actually. Something's leaking. Stig is being shut off. It will be a victory lap, a solo run for Anita. The crew getting in on the deal as well with their chicken headgear. Stig Niergaard, disappointing end to what's been a really good weekend for them. Don't forget, drag racing, even though it's about quick runs, it's all about championship points as well. There's a 6-round championship, and as far as you go in eliminations, you get a certain amount of points based on that as well. So Stig's got to the final. He's going to leave Santa Pod with a good haul of points, but not nearly as good as Anita. She will be your champion. What can she do on this final round run? Santa Pod Raceway is all hers for about the next 4 seconds. And another storming run and launch. She's got a cylinder out on one side of the engine. That doesn't matter. She still goes in the 3s once again. Fantastic performance, we have to say, from the whole team. The first time anyone has ever put together an all 3-second slate of elapsed time through every round of eliminations and qualifying too. Anita definitely is queen this weekend.
I love this big smile, Anita. The happy engine must have done the trick.
Oh, yeah, it sure did. This happy engine was singing such a nice songs that I just wish to listen that song all along.
You've been really consistent this weekend. In the 3s, it was amazing. How do you feel?
Well, it all thanks to my excellent crew. They are just awesome guys and they have done all the work.
Well, all the work indeed has resulted in her leaving with the championship points lead. On that performance, she's going to be tough to get around this summer. Final of our show today is going to be Showtime against West 10. 2 guys from the UK, Kevin Kent and John Spuffard. Now Spuff and the team, a monumental job to get that car back together and working after that fire and engine problem in the semi-finals. They kicked the rods out of the bottom, which basically means the engine is toast, as nearly was John, as you could see by the flames that were coming out from underneath the car. Now, not only do they have to take the engine out and replace it with a new one, obviously it all needs rebuilding again, but when you have a fire in something like a funny car, everything is very tightly packed in there, and the fire burns the wiring, it burns all sorts of other things as well, that a lot of the time need to be replaced as well. So the team just doing a fantastic job, and now it's up to the 2 drivers to see who is going to be lifting the trophy for today in a Fuel Funny Car. Bob Jarrett sets the barrel valve on the top of the engine for Showtime. Kevin Kent rolling into stage with the West 10 car. Who will be the first over 1,000 foot? John Spuffard, after all that work, unfortunately with problems off the line, Kevin storms through with another mid 4-second run over 1,000 foot. Picks up where he left off last year. He won at the European finals and back at the top of the pile again after this weekend here at Santa Pod, the main event. Well done to all the Funny Car guys on a great show.
Absolutely brilliant final to top of an excellent weekend for you.
Yeah, no, it was great. You know, we waited for this final for quite a while, you know, to race against my good mate John. It's been 2 years in the waiting. Finally got it and won, so yeah, superb.
How did you do it?
Good crew guys, you know, they're fantastic.
Nothing to do with you.
No, nothing to do with me at all. Yeah, thanks very much.
Kevin Kent very happy indeed to win, and also very happy, as you can see, to be at the top of the point standings in Funny Car.
Well, what a great start to the season that was, Darryl. We had records broken, we had upsets in the finals.
It was wonderful. Both cars and bikes were fantastic. Anita Michaela in top fuel, all 3-second runs all the way through eliminations, setting the European record and taking the points lead as well. Also, Jimmy Orland in Pro Stock, you couldn't get any more awesome than that. First European in the 6.4s, 215 miles an hour. Again, both ends of the European record and an event win, and that was just the cars.
What about the bikes? We had a 21-second top fuel, brilliant.
Yeah, a 21-second top fuel bike run would not normally get it done. Obviously, that was just one of the weirdest finals we've ever seen. I thought the guys were going to just get off and push as well. Frederick Friedland as well, taking the win in Pro Stock Bike. Not as easy as everyone expected him to do, but he took the event win most importantly. Sets us up for a great fun summer.
It certainly does. Well, there are 2 more rounds before you see us again at Hockenheim at the Nitro Olympics in August.